December 7, 1941, the day when America faced one of the darkest moments in its military history. Hundreds of Japanese planes roar over Pearl Harbor, battleships explode, and airfields burn to the ground. But what if we changed one thing? What if hidden on the tarmac, under a tarp, is something that no one can comprehend, something that could alter the entire course of this attack? The F-22 Raptor, a modern fighter jet, dropped into a battle it was never built for. This wasn't just any aircraft, it was the most advanced jet on Earth. What happens when it faces one of the most infamous attacks in history? Can it stop the raid? Or is it just one jet against hundreds? This jet can fly at Mach 1.5, over 1,100 miles per hour, 1,770 kilometers per hour, faster than anything that existed in 1941. It's nearly invisible to radar, armed to the teeth, and ready to change history. On December 7, 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, a pivotal moment in World War II. But let's imagine for a second that the F-22 Raptor, a modern marvel of technology, was there that day. Could this cutting-edge fighter jet have turned the tide of the attack? Would it have been enough to change the course of history? This script explores that hypothetical scenario, analyzing the battle between one of the most advanced jets ever made and the formidable Japanese forces of 1941. The F-22 Raptor is the epitome of modern aviation technology. With a cruising speed of Mach 1.5, 1,770 kilometers per hour, it can outpace anything that existed in 1941 by a considerable margin. It's equipped with radar-evading technology, making it nearly invisible to enemy radars. It's armed with an array of weapons designed to dominate the skies. The F-22 carries 6 AMRAAM, advanced medium-range air-to-air missiles, 2 Sidewinder heat-seeking missiles, and a Vulcan cannon that can fire up to 100 rounds per second. Its radar can track over 20 targets simultaneously, and it can fire before the enemy even knows it's there. With unmatched speed, agility, and weaponry, it was the perfect weapon for modern warfare. But could it handle the chaos of an attack like Pearl Harbor? The Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor was swift and devastating. On December 7, 1941, Japan launched 353 aircraft, split into 2 waves. The majority of these aircraft were Mitsubishi A6M0 fighters, Nakajima B-5N torpedo bombers, and Aichi D-3A dive bombers. These planes were fast and agile for their time, but they were also significantly slower than modern aircraft. The Zeros topped out at around 330 miles per hour, while the bombers could barely reach 230 miles per hour. These planes were limited by the technology of the era. They had no radar, no computers, and no guided missiles. Every action they took was manual, from navigation to firing. As the first wave of Japanese aircraft approaches, the F-22 is ready. It takes off swiftly, climbing to altitude in seconds. Its radar begins scanning the horizon, locking on to multiple targets from over 30 miles away. The Japanese pilots, unaware of the threat, continue with their formation. Within moments, the F-22 launches its AMRAAM missiles, and a few seconds later, planes vanish mid-air. There's no warning, no return fire. Panic sets in. The bombers break formation, and the fighter pilots frantically try to determine where the attack is coming from. The F-22 has already struck, and it's only just begun. As the second wave of Japanese aircraft approaches, the situation has already changed. The alarm is gone. Alarms blare across Pearl Harbor. American soldiers rush to man anti-aircraft guns, and everyone is on high alert. But high above, one jet is changing the entire battle. Despite the incoming wave of over 170 planes, the F-22 is still in the sky, hunting its targets with unparalleled precision. But even with all its capabilities, one jet can only do so much against such an overwhelming enemy force. While the F-22 is incredibly fast and agile, it has one major limitation: fuel. The F-22 has a maximum range of around 1,600 nautical miles, 1,840 miles, with extra fuel tanks attached. In a combat scenario, it burns fuel quickly, especially after extended dogfights. After 30 to 40 minutes of combat, it either needs to land or risk running out of fuel. But there's another issue. The F-22 runs on JP-8 jet fuel, a modern military-grade fuel that didn't exist in 1941. Even if the F-22 lands safely, it can't be refueled, rearmed, or maintained. It's effectively out of the fight. The Japanese aircraft, on the other hand, have a distinct advantage. They launch from aircraft carriers that are fully stocked with fuel, bombs, and trained deck crews. They can refuel, rearm, and launch planes within hours. They've rehearsed this attack down to the second. In 1941, the Japanese forces have complete control over logistics, and their ability to sustain the attack is far beyond what the F-22 can handle. Pearl Harbor was more than just an air battle. It was a coordinated attack on ships, airfields, and infrastructure. In the real attack, 8 U.S. battleships were either sunk or severely damaged, 188 aircraft were destroyed, and more than 2,400 Americans lost their lives. Could the F-22 have changed that? Yes, but not entirely. If every missile hit and the Vulcan cannon was used perfectly, the F-22 could take out around 12 enemy planes. That's enough to disrupt a wave, but not stop the entire armada. While the F-22 may not have been able to completely stop the attack, its presence would have a massive psychological impact. For the Japanese pilots, chaos would reign. Their planes would vanish before they even understood what happened. The entire attack strategy would begin to fall apart. For the American forces on the ground, seeing a jet they had never seen before taking down enemy planes with ease would boost morale. In the end, the F-22 Raptor couldn't stop the attack on Pearl Harbor, but it could have changed the scale of the disaster. It would have disrupted the Japanese forces, saved ships, and saved lives. While it couldn't stop every bomber or fighter, it would have altered the course of the attack and the way it was perceived by both sides. The war would still start, but it might have developed differently. Pearl Harbor marked the beginning of America's entry into World War II. The F-22, while it couldn't completely prevent the attack, would have changed the battle's dynamics and left a lasting psychological impact. The course of the war would still unfold, but perhaps with a new sense of urgency and fear from the Japanese forces. It may not have won the battle, but it might have won the psychological war.